Hey, welcome to the Biblical Idioms class. I'm Gail Heaton. So, a while back, somebody said to me, Hey, Gail, did you know the Bible wasn't written to you, but it was written for you? What? Does that mean that I'm reading somebody else's mail? Well, no, 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 no. Come to find out, that's not what that means. And now that phrase has kind of become one of my favorite things. So the Bible wasn't written to you. What does that mean? That means that the Bible was actually written to a people, an ancient people, a long, long time ago. People that thought differently than how we think in the West. So the Bible wasn't written to you, but it was written for you. Okay, well, that's the part that kind of settled me down. Uh, the Bible is timeless. We know that. The Bible is living, scriptures are living. They are just as relevant to the ones that originally heard it to what us today who are hearing it today. So that kind of settled me down a little bit. But it did kind of start me on this um, real interest in learning more about the ancient Near East. And in part of that became my great interest in learning about biblical idioms. So the thing about biblical idioms, they're really kind of fun. You know how like in your family you have private jokes, that only you guys in the family know. Well, I feel like that's kind of like how it is with biblical idioms. Um, we're not really in on the joke until we have it explained to us, and then we can, oh yeah, that's what you mean. For me, I kind of see idioms the same way that we would have like uh, private jokes in the family, right? It's like all families have these sayings or these phrases that nobody outside the family would understand, right? Only inside the family. Let me give you one of mine. So I have 7 children, and the 4 younger children are all kind of around the same age, right? So when they were around 6 and 7 years old, there was some um, squabbles, shall I say, between a couple of the boys. And one of our sons would try to get the youngest in trouble a lot. So if, you know, something was accidentally broken in the house, this one son would say, well, it was probably Landon. And so anytime anything, and usually the one who was saying that, he's the one who broke it, right? And he's blaming it on his little brother. But in our family, probably Landon became like the catchphrase. And so even now, years and years later, like our youngest is 21 years old. And so even years later, when Corona hit, COVID-19, and everyone was trying to figure out where did it come from. And in our family, it was like, well, probably Landon. So that's not quite an idiom, but it's a family joke. And so anyone hearing that would be like, I don't know what you mean by that. And everybody else in the family knew what that was. I love idioms. I love studying them. I love like cracking the code, so to speak. And I'm hoping that you guys will, by the time you're done with this course, fall in love with idioms too. What I'm hoping will happen by the time you're done with this course is that when you come across a phrase that's a little bit different sounding in scripture, you'll identify it as an idiom, and then you'll ask, what did that mean to the ancients? And then you'll see maybe that, the Bible was not written to us, but it's certainly written for us. So before you get started with your first lesson, let's talk a little bit about the structure of this class. So I have intentionally made the videos short and sweet. So each lesson will have an accompanying video. And I think 5 minutes is going to be the longest video that I'll have. Now, I happen to be a really big believer in taking like the theoretical and making it practical to your life. I think that's especially important with any kind of Bible study. Head knowledge without knowing how to, um, put it into practical terms in our life, I think isn't going to get you much anywhere. So I really want this class to be practical. So the way that I've done that is at the end of, so you'll watch a video. So at the end of each lesson, there's going to be a place for you to work on some activities, journaling, different kinds of things that I'll have set up for you. And sometimes I'll suggest that you post your responses onto our Facebook group so that you can let other people know, kind of like the fun that we're having in our class. Now, because the lessons are short, there's some days or some weeks that you might want to power through 3 or 4 of them, and that's fine. Other times things will get busy in your life and you may do 1 or 2 a week, and that's okay too. I really want you to make the class your own, and whatever pace works for you, I think is going to be great. The lessons will be numbered, but you're totally okay to pick and choose the order that you want to do it in. So after we do this introduction video, and you start with your first lesson, you could either go to lesson number 1, or when you look in the title section, you can just jump to one of those if there's something in that title, that particular idiom that interests you. And that's perfectly okay to do it that way too. So here's something I ask, if I may be so bold. I want you to pray before each lesson. And the reason is because, I've studied out the idioms, and then I'm going to suggest a particular way for you to incorporate your new learning into the practical of your life. I don't think there's going to be anything controversial that I'll teach you. I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to rock your theology. But I would never want to take you down a direction that the Father isn't wanting to take you. So by praying first, you can ask the Father to just make sure that your spirit is feeling settled with the things that I'm sharing with you. So that's pretty much it for the introduction. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in the other videos. Bye.